We are so back. We are so back with another tier list. Let's go. Everyone's favorite content. I know everyone loves it. It's the only videos on my channel that get decent views. Kidding. My channel's fine considering how few people are actually interested in Rush. Let's be honest. Let's be real. But speaking of people who are interested in Rush, I know a lot of people are interested in what is worth being played in Rush right now. Which is why I have the tier list in front of me. So this tier list is a little different. I'm not doing S tier. I don't like doing tier lists like that. I started with those, but I didn't really feel like that represented the actual game. It was always just my opinion. So I changed the tiers so they represent my opinion. As in, what decks do I think are meta playable? What decks do I think are rogue playable? Which decks do I think have potential? And which decks do I think are just completely memes? They are no good, just complete memes. So that's what we're going to go over today. I'm going to break down each of these decks, not too in-depth. I have separate videos for breaking down the decks in more in-depth ways. But we are just going to go over each of these decks and just say which of the four categories it falls into. And a little info about them here and there. You can't see it. There's more behind my camera, but it's blocking the rest of the decks. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the brand new decks. First of all, we have Void-Velg / Dark Galaxy. I'm putting this one right away in meta playable. It's not the best deck at the moment, but for the kind of aggro, like consistent aggro beatdown style, this deck just takes it to a different level. Where beforehand we had like Dragias Turbo, which is just big number guy swings over little guys, or you just keep playing like that. This is essentially the same thing, but in a consistent game plan. So that's why I'm taking that, putting it in meta, because if Dragias Turbo / aggro was hyper consistent, it would be one of the top decks. Dark Galaxy is just such, so it is one of the top decks in my opinion. As well, I should mention this meta playable tier also represents decks you are most likely to see on the ladder. Alright, next up, we have the brand new Psychics. The Psychic Fusion Candy Live, representing the brand new Psychic deck. And again, meta playable. Not only can this deck get your monsters to insane attack stats, but it is what I can only say is a perfect continuation of what was Rush's like first comp. The new Psychic Fusions is a complete toolbox. There are so many different tools, from forcing the opponent to have a monster in attack, from outing fusion monsters in a unique way, to also just recurring and boosting monsters in a whole bunch of different ways. This deck has so many lines, it's actually kind of difficult to play if you're not used to it. It's literally like combos have come to Rush. Following that, our first has potential, this new Insect deck. I haven't actually been able to get my hands on it so far because I just haven't been able to get all the tickets, because of course it's locked behind ranked tickets and I just haven't really been playing too much to get them. As well, it's also locked behind the shop, as you can see from this guy right here. But it seems really cool. It's kind of like an aggro deck, but all your guys are like 100 attack and they just get like boosted. It's super interesting. I'm putting in has potential because I'm just not familiar with its 2B. Next up, meta playable, it's Cyber Dragon. It's Cyber Dragon, baby. You're gonna see this thing on the ladder forever, no matter what. Unless they finally fucking ban it. Ban something, limit something, come on. But no. Cyber Dragon, it's insanely consistent. It's very powerful. It has tools that just wipe the floor with some older decks, which have not even made it back onto the list for this video. Next up, we have Earth Machine / Join Tech. Personally, I am more of a Coin Tech guy if you want to play Earth Machine, but the deck's not very good. It's just not good. This card specifically, this Join Tech Leo, is bad. Coin Tech is decent. It was on my previous tier list as being decent, but this card and Join Tech, nah, it's just not. Next up, we have the Worm Max monster. So there was new Worm support that kind of revolves around fusions, but some people are still playing the Max monster with like the new main deck Worm guys, and the deck was no good before, and it's still just a meme now. Let's be real. Rogue. Our first entry for Rogue. We got the Dragios Turbo / Aggro. It's like, it's a deck that's just always going to be here. You can just like shove Dragios and a whole bunch of 1500 guys into a deck, and legit, just if you just keep going, you'll get King of Games eventually. It's like, it's pretty simple. It's cheap, it's simple. It's just not hyper consistent. You can definitely, like I said, you can definitely hit King of Games with this thing, you know. It's not that like. Next up, Dark Magician. This here is on the list for me and me alone, because I'm the one playing this deck. When I'm just like, man, I just really want to play Rush right now, but I don't really want to like try any of these new decks. Let's just go to All Reliable. I just load up DM and I have so much fun. It's such a fun deck to play. Put it in Rogue because I think it's strong, but I'm probably the only person who actually like thinks of it like that. Another Rogue entry, we got Hero. Hero hasn't changed at all since the previous update, so it just stays in Rogue, like I'm pretty sure I put it before. You can fact check me. Leave a comment in the comments if you're fact checking me on if I put Hero in Rogue in the last video I did on this. Now I'm putting the Greystorm Reverie, rest in peace, Reverie. Anyway, so this, he's kind of like a Galaxy, kind of like Monarch-like guy. It's weird. The deck's playable. I just don't like it better than like any other Cypress deck. Any other Galaxy deck. So he gets to put it on, has potential. You can win duel or two with this. You could probably hit King of Games with this guy, let's be honest. Because there's so much good Galaxy tools you have now that I'm sure you can probably like succeed with this guy. Another Rogue pick, Bill Dream. So I know I posted a Rush rundown recently of the Worm like Bill Dream deck, and honestly, after playing it for that video and all my testing and research, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely good, like playable, but you're kind of gate-kept a bit by not being as consistent as other decks that do similar things to you. Like fusion-wise, we have the Psychic deck, which is better. We have Metarion, which is better. It's just like there's other decks that are better than you, and they're consistent, and they're just overall stronger. It's listen, I say it's Rogue. I'm not gonna like kill you for playing the deck. I just don't think it's like top tier. It's not like top of the meta. But if you want to just have fun with this, you play the Secret Order version of this deck. So much fun. So much fun. Big recommend the Secret Order version of this deck. Next up, a meme. We got Thunder. I have a video on this on my channel too, where I tried playing Thunder after the new support came out, and I hated my life. I loved Thunder before the new support, tried it again with the new support, and I said, I'm not touching this ever again. I went, little aside, I went on Duel Links meta, typed in Thunder, and just looked at all the rest of the Thunder cards that we just don't have yet, and I'm like, oh, there's no saving this shit without like a skill. There is nothing here. Next up, Seven's Paladin. So this was much better in the previous like update before all the new cards came out, but now that Seven's Paladin is kind of like a little older now. It's kind of, in my opinion, kicked out from the top tiers, but it's still very playable, and there is still so much spellcaster support we do not have in Duel Links. Like, there is a trap for spellcasters that just a board wipe if your graveyard's full of spellcasters, and you know how easy that is in Rush if you play. For whatever reason, I mean, for good reason, honestly, they decided to just not print this for Duel Links, which is very smart. It's a insane spellcaster to be tier 0 if they had it. But there's just so much other support in the game that we haven't gotten yet, that some version of spellcasters is always going to sit in the has. Meme, Bluetooth Dragon. I saw people on Reddit posting about Bluetooth Dragon decks, and I was like, what? Huh? Like, why doesn't anyone play Bluetooth Dragon? And whatever her name is, it's the ace monster form I'm looking like, because it's bad, like, because the card isn't that good and her skills suck. Anyway, that's why I'm putting a meme, because for some reason Reddit loves it. I'm putting Cybers in rogue playable. I know this is like the oldest deck I put on this list, but I still think Cybers, because of the consistency of which they can get the Yggdrago out, that it's still kind of relevant in like the rogue tier. As well, the Cyber skill, like lowering the attack of 2 monsters on the field or making their own monsters 2 tributes for free every turn, is actually like on par with the kind of skills we're getting from these newer decks. Blaster's Inferno, I'm putting this in has potential. This deck, it's like the one who got away from me. I want to play this deck so bad, but I don't want to go into its box just for this one normal monster that I need 3 of. I found out you can actually get him from the dream tickets, so now I'm hands out begging, please Duel Links, please give me dream tickets so I can get this guy. I got 1, I just need 2 more and I can finally play this deck, because I love these freaking stupid Secret Order decks, which is why I have like Dark Magician. But this deck too plays Draconic Resonance and Treasure Dragon to do such funny shit that I really want to play it. Next up, we got the Warrior deck, the new Warrior deck. I don't even really know what's called, like Celestial or something. This is just a picture of Yami Ruler, because you do play Yami Ruler in deck, but it's not like Yami Ruler deck. You're mostly fusing like the new like Priestess and Seamstress cards, I want to say there. I'm not crazy familiar with it. I looked at it and I was like, it seems cool. The new cards look cool. They have really nice arts, but the deck doesn't really stack up that well with the rest of the meta right now. But Warrior is such like a catch-all kind of deck in paper Yu-Gi-Oh! That I can only imagine like there's just all this support that's either coming or just hiding in there, just waiting to come out for Warrior, and maybe Yami Ruler and the Celestials are just gonna like pop off eventually. The fusion card, it's got really cool tools, which is why I'm putting it in has potential. Rogue, Dragiastar F. I think of the like fusion decks from the last update, the previous update, I mean, I think Dragiastar has the best staying power, just because natively it's like running Dragias aggro, but you also have cards that have other game plans where you're not just trying to stick the 25, you're actually trying to like do fusion plays. You can, the Star Dragon, he's super cool. He has so many cool things you can like combo with him, and you don't need to actually put out Dragiastar F. But even if you do, he's really cool. He's super strong card. I really like it. I had a lot of fun. I did the testing last week, no, 2 weeks ago at this point when I'm recording this. I did testing 2 weeks ago for a Dragiastar video, and then the new update came out, so I just pushed that video back. It's probably gonna come out in like a week or 2. Who knows? Could be tomorrow. It's not gonna be tomorrow. But I think that's really cool. It's a really cool deck, which is why I'm putting it in Rogue, because it's still a threat. It is still a threat. You can definitely you'll definitely run into it, and you can definitely play it and hit King of Game. Now, here's where my list gets a little funky. I'm putting Light Galaxy and Galactic Oblivion in has potential instead of Rogue. So the reason I'm doing that is because when I say this deck has potential, I mean it has potential to be up here at the top. It just isn't there right now. There are, like I said, with like every other deck, so much more support we just haven't gotten yet that will eventually push Light Galaxy up to the top where the rest of these decks are. But we just don't have that yet. And it in its current state is pretty much on the same level as like Blaster's Inferno, as Dark Magician, and I really just didn't want to stuff the Rogue tier full of things when I think this deck is like literally like right in the middle of being one of the best decks. It's really close to being top tier. And wow, we are almost out of here, and I feel like I barely even talked at all. We are on our last deck, Metarion, and if you are familiar at all with Metarion, you knew, of course, it's going to be meta playable. Metarion is one of the top decks, according to literally anyone you will ask. I personally think it's very spricky, kind of sacky, but that does not stop it from being incredibly powerful. Still one of the top decks in the game. So many tools, it's just not consistent enough to be tier 0, and you are way more likely to run into a cheaper deck like Cyber Dragon on ladder instead of Metarion. But if you're competing in like a tournament environment, you are most likely to run the Metarion, and you should probably be playing it yourself. Anyway, I somehow got it off in under 20 minutes. That's crazy. These videos usually go like 20-30 plus minutes, and then I have to like cut so many like tangents and things. But I think because I've really gotten into more of the content creation where I go over these and break these decks down, I can like send people on the way to like, if you want learn more about this deck, go watch the video I already made on it and things like that. So this is where we wrap this video. This is where we're going to end off here. If you disagree with anything on my list, go ahead, leave the comment below. If you think there's a deck I left off the list, leave that comment below. Like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.